What I'm trying to do is rein in my high enthusiasm level for this systems philosophy video. That's right, a systems philosophy video on air guns.
Did he just say air guns like BB pistols and pellet rifles and stuff?
Yes, that is what I said. Air guns. I'm excited, very excited, because I have been holding out on you guys for a long time. I think that will become clear as I discuss philosophy of use of air guns. Don't change the channel. Do not adjust your TV set. You are in the right place. We're going to have a good time and everybody can play. These aren't firearms. They are subject to much fewer restrictions. Everybody can play. That guy right there watching another show in another browser window, you can play. That guy picking his nose, yeah, you can play, I guess. Guy playing with your dog, I see you. Yes, you can play too. Your kids can play. Daughters, sons, grandchildren can play this game of air gunning. Now, what I'm going to say here will probably be found in a lot of different places in probably some different ways. I'm just going to give you my Nutnfancy spin as I always do. Shoot straight with you guys. Yes, air gun style straight. And I think you'll dig it. You're going to dig it. Now, you longtime TMPers who have been with me, thank you so much. You may remember a time when I did start a little bit reviewing air guns. And then for whatever reason, I just got busy with, well, real guns. AKs and stuff. Those seem to have a lot of popularity. They still do. They're awesome. Still love them. I'll still do normal gun reviews. Right? However, burning in the deep recesses of my heart for many decades, you guys will think I'm joshing you. I'm not. But burning in the deep recesses of my heart is a love of air gunning. I know. I'm probably surprising some of you guys. But it's genuine. Okay? It's genuine. Everything you see in TMP is genuine. That's why it stands and will stand the test of time. It is a project. A project really is never done. And you longtime TMPers, I've been telling you, at least the donors, be a donor. I'll hit you up on that again. They're the reason I'm here doing this video. They're the reason I have these cool guns to show you. But I've been telling you guys for a long time that the best days of TMP are yet to come. This is part of it. Now, don't make the mistake of saying, oh, I see. So, you know, the leftist politics of the day, they're very anti-gun, very anti-self-defense. And so you're going into air gunning to, I don't know, keep reviewing guns of sorts. That's not the reason. That's not the reason. I've said and will hold to the promise that as long as I can legally, I can't do things illegal here on this channel, but as long as I legally can review MG42s and stuff. Okay, maybe not MG42, but what do I have here? Okay, as long as I can review like this kind of stuff, I'll do it. Yeah, like I said, this isn't going to replace firearm content in the Nutnfancy project. It's just adding to it. And where we go from here is up to you guys. So, this video will be the first to post. And if I sense there's excitement, I sense there's good views that excite me personally, and I sense that you guys are using my affiliate links so I can make 5 cents on the dollar, then you'll get more. So the ball will be in your court. But trust me, the passion has been in my heart for a very long time for air gunning. I'm going to show you this. So, where's that gun? Right there. Okay, so a perfect afternoon for me when I lived in Spokane, Washington, is I would wake up early in the morning. I had a good friend that would go out with me, and I would take my trusty R9 That's right, R9 by Beeman, outfitted exactly as you see here, and I would go a-hunting crows during the season. Nutnfancy with an air rifle? Yes, with an air rifle. Okay, so you might find that unusual that even back then I had 22s of all sorts and descriptions, sure. Long before TMP, I know this. Why did I love it so much? Well, that's kind of what this video is about, boys and girls. Right? Philosophy of use. Why would I choose an air rifle and have so much excitement hunting? And my focus, and you're going to hear this echo through my reviews, through this philosophy of use video, my focus is just that, pest elimination. Now, guys who've been following me for a long time know that I'm not a big hunter. I don't like killing things. I really don't. But when any pest animal rises to the level of high annoyance, high numbers, it's time to do something. And doing something is what I did. I mean, I slayed with that Beeman R9. And that's in 20 caliber. My choice back then, I still love 20 caliber and a lot of different air rifles. We're not going to fixate too much on the details of the guns, though. That will be in the reviews, right? We're broad stroking philosophy of use, why you should have an air rifle. Actually, let's back that up. Why you should have a selection of air rifles and air pistols. Here comes my beloved circa 1997 Beeman P1 in 20 caliber. Nutnfancy, you magnificent bastard. You've been holding out on us. I told you I have. Why wait until now? Well, I'm kind of busy. That's why. And it's always been on my mind. I promised I would get into air gunning with you guys, and I meant it. I just didn't know it would take 10 years. 10 years, holy shit. 10 years, Nutnfancy. Wow, dude. You should have a selection of air guns, air pistols that fit your purposes. My focus, again, is killing pests. I'm talking like crows, rats, starlings. I really don't like killing raccoons. I love raccoons, but they can be a huge problem. And again, when something becomes such a big problem as tearing it or destroying your property, causing problems, trying to attack your children, which by the way did happen in Texas to baby Tactical Doodle, Nutnfancy grabbed his air rifle and he went a hunting. And he found that critter and killed it with an air rifle. True story. True story. I won't tell you what that critter was. I'm going to keep that top secret. Yeah. I loved air gunning probably due to my dad. My dad is the one who introduced it to me. He had some BSA air guns he brought back from England. Here's a box of pellets from that era. These are probably from 1974. These are from my dad, and I still have them. These are in 22 caliber, and actually he's the one that sold me on 22 caliber air gunning. And I still have his break action BSA with a tired spring, by the way, a tired mainspring. Maybe one day I fix that one up. But I'm going to be busy testing a bunch of new guns that are far superior to that one, with far better accuracy and far more power and far more enjoyability than that old BSA. But my dad is the one that introduced me, and he told me back in the 70s, he's like, hey dude, well, didn't call me dude. He goes, just so you know, this is a weapon. You need to treat it like a firearm. And that's the first thing I want to say in this POU video, is that we're saying we're going to have fun, that everybody can play. I use the word play. But what we're really doing is we are handling facsimiles of firearms, and some of them have just as much power as any firearm. Well, not any, but a lot of firearms. They have a lot of muzzle energy. They can easily hurt somebody, perhaps even kill somebody if they're misused. So please, please, please apply all the safety, handling precautions, rules, and everything else you do with normal firearms to air guns. of any sort of description. Don't point them at people. Beware of your backdrop. Keep your finger out of the trigger until you're ready to fire. These can be serious weapons, especially the modern ones now. The PCPs, the pre-charged pneumatics, are very powerful. So don't run around thinking they're just, toys. They're not. They're very serious weapons. That out of the way, let's get going. I know you guys are going to love this video. I know you're going to love it. It's going to be like a bolt of lightning out of a blue sky. You're like,
Nutnfancy, you got me. I did not see this one coming.
Good. I don't want you to see a lot of this stuff coming. I want you to just go, what? What? This is what I've been waiting for forever. Nutnfancy philosophy of use for air gunning. Okay, there's so much to say. I don't know how long this video will go. That was just the intro, and I'm already probably, 11 minutes in it. What an idiot. Whatever. We're here to have fun primarily. And I'm here to impart my spin on application. We call it in the project philosophy of use, because that indicates you've done some thinking about your hunting with air guns. And maybe you're not a hunter and you're like, well, I don't have any pest animals. I live in an apartment complex. We'll get to that. There's a lot of uses for air guns, and I'm just throwing out that was my focus. Now that I'm reviewing air guns, it probably won't be my focus anymore, because now I need to represent all the disciplines of air gunning in my testing, and I will try to do that. I'm going to start off pretty simple though, and we'll just see what the support is, and if it's high, as I anticipate it will be, then I'll get more creative in my testing protocol. And I haven't watched anybody else's reviews, and there's 1,000, not 8,000, probably tens of thousands of reviews on every air gun you can imagine. There's channels that dedicate themselves solely to air gunning, and I'm sure they do great work. I will be barely acceptable content as always. Barely acceptable. Oh my gosh, Nutnfancy, you have me laughing already. All right, number one philosophy of use for air gunning is to, you guys are going to like this too, especially those who live outside the United States, avoiding legal problems of a firearm. There's a lot of places in Europe, other countries, where they cannot own these cool handguns that we have. Where'd that thing go? I got a PSA dagger here somewhere. Here it is. Here's a PSA dagger. So this is a 9mm Glock takeoff. It's a wicked gun. I'll put a link to this below. It takes you to Palmetto State Armory. It's awesome. Okay, but you're in a locale, a country, a city, a village that says, no, you cannot own that. Now, anybody, I'll just represent this super quick, anybody can go buy a gun like that on the black market anywhere. Actually, he could probably go find 3D plans to just print it, 3D print one that's similar or at least has that capability. That information is out online. It will be forever and ever. You cannot control firearms, even though these countries, these states, these localities do try to do this. And a lot of people who have jobs, have careers, they want to protect said jobs and careers, and they don't want to go to jail, they don't want to have legal problems, and they don't want to go to the black market. They just don't want to fool around with any of that stuff. And by the way, I'm not advocating any of that. I'm just saying that that's what people can do and do. I had to space that out, because if I said do, it sounds, like, well, do. Anyways, so yeah, you can avoid a lot of legal hassles by maybe skipping the Glock, skipping the PSA dagger, and going for an air pistol. Same capabilities? No. Even the best ones are not going to have the same capabilities. A firearm is far superior in terms of hitting power, distance, ease of reload, rapid firing. I'm just going to represent that in this POU video. I mean, if you, let's go back to the hunting POU, and this is going to be another one we'll hit again. But if you want to kill an obnoxious critter, I'm talking like an animal of sorts that's doing damage, destroying your car, getting up in the wiring of your truck, chewing it up, just get a pump action, lever action 22, and I have reviewed several. You could just get in my playlist, check out my 22 playlist in Commie Boob Tube, and yeah, snipe that sucker with a 22 short. It'll have far more foot-pounds than most of these guns that I'll be reviewing. At 22 short, inside of 25 yards, will do great. You can shoot some CBs. They're like CCI CBs, have no powder on them, or in them. They're just propelled by the primers all. And some of those, there's going to be a lot of PCPs will be more powerful than those. But my point is that you can get your 22, feed it the right load, even without a can, a suppressor. It will shoot quietly. It will destroy that pest that's really bothering you, and it will have limited range. But here's the catch. You're doing it with a firearm. So if someone sees you and you're in a locale, a city, a state, a country where that firearm, you can't use it inside city limits, and someone finds out, you might have some trouble. You might get cited. You might go to jail. Yes, over something that benign, seemingly benign. A lot of airgun enthusiasts go, why go down that road? I still have pests. I still have rats behind my house. And I don't know why, because I leave my garbage out all the time. I'm just kidding. But some people do live that way. Maybe they do leave garbage out intentionally to attract targets for their own personal rat jihad. Ooh, I like that, actually. No, I don't. I don't want garbage behind my house. But dude's like, he's like, well, I need to snipe those rats, and he goes for an air gun. And then maybe it's legal where he's at. Now, there's a lot to this, and I'm not going to make any attempt here whatsoever to try to represent all the different legal ramifications and varieties of laws that would apply to you doing such a thing. A lot of cities, even with an air gun, a BB gun, it's still illegal to discharge it inside city limits. So know your laws, obey your laws. That is completely up to you. But they are awfully quiet. They have limited range, and they're not a firearm. You can get them shipped directly to your door. To your door. What I'm thinking right now, subject to change, but what I'm thinking is when I do a review of a gun, in the description below, I'm going to hit up my donors. You have to be a donor, so join TMP Patreon for this. I'm going to hit up my donors like, these are some of the air guns I'm looking for on loan. And since we're talking legalities here, so this is appropriate to talk about here, they're not firearms. I don't have to go through an FFL. You can ship your awesome PCP pneumatic and 25 caliber to me, and 22 caliber to me. I'll review it, ship it back to you with a bunch of desert dust on it. No, it may or may not have dust on it. I'll do my best to take care of it. I really will. I know you guys are excited at that prospect because I know a lot of you watching this right now already have a variety of cool air guns. There are so many, and I don't want to go out and spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, getting all these air guns. I'll spend some money, which I have for these that you've seen, on select guns that I think hit the value level for me personally and the value level for my audience. Legalities, though, I mean, they're not a firearm. It's awesome. Now, in England, they used to say, and I haven't checked in with it, they're like, well, if it's above 12 foot-pounds, it's subject to more restrictions. But honestly, England is so effed up. It has been that way for years. I don't know why you guys would ever live in England. You need to get the hell out. I really hate that country. Not the country, not the people. I love English people. I love the country. And yes, I have spent quite a bit of time there. On my mountain bike, I bicycled hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles when I was deployed to England in the mighty KC-135s as an instructor aircraft commander. Off duty, I hit the roads. I know England. Well, I know its politics. I was there when handguns were banned. I know it. But I do not like their government. And really, I don't like how their people don't push back and they just accept all that bullshit like 12 foot-pounds of energy. We don't have such a restriction as of yet here in the United States, so you can go a high joule weapon airgun type. But it's beautiful that you can get it shipped right to your door. You don't have to register it. You can transport it from state to state. You can put a so-called moderator on it. So this is a so-called suppressor bought in England, by the way. I bought that sucker in England and put it on the tip of my Beeman R9. 100% legal, y'all. And yes, it does diminish the noise made with this spring-powered break action rifle, which, by the way, I still love that type. Very exciting. Now, some of you guys may be so new to this subject, you're like, holy cow, this is completely new to me. I mean, I knew there's air guns. I know all you guys know that, but you didn't know that they are approaching and actually in some ways surpass gunpowder in terms of projecting or propelling a projectile. Did you? Okay. Get it shipped right to your door, dude. And they're less expensive. That's kind of its own talking point, I think. Yeah, it is. We'll get to that. Legalities, number one. Number two, and I kind of jumped the gun, and I told you I'm a hunter of sorts with air guns, and I won't say of sorts, I totally am. If you were to tally up all the pest animals, and I have never killed anything that didn't deserve killing, okay, maybe one time. But that's just one time. But if you were to add them up with my air guns, I'm guessing 150 pests eliminated with air guns. Yeah, the perfect afternoon, the perfect morning to me is waking up with my buddy and we go hunting with this. This is my gun of choice, the Beeman R9 in 20 caliber. Look at my holdovers. That is from that chart you see there was handwritten by me in 1997, dudes. See that? And right now I have a Tasco scope on it. Those are Beeman rings. When this came out of box, the Beeman R9 in 20 caliber was 14 foot-pounds of energy. And 20 cal is a great all-around caliber. A little bit bigger, heavier than a 177. For hunting, I'll tell you guys this right now. I don't like 177. I like metal. I want a big chunk of metal. And now with the PCPs, I'm not going with 20s. I'm going with at least 22 caliber with a pre-charged pneumatic. I'll throw that out there. So I have my Cro-Magnum, my H&N, Silver Jet, and Silver Bear. Those are the pellets I was using in the day. And then I have my yardage and my holdover points. And interestingly, this is before laser rangefinders. What I was using is an archery rangefinder for the shots. Because with an air gun, it's not like a firearm. There's a lot of drop. And you really need to know your gun. You need to know the pellet you're shooting. You need to know your velocities. And that's part of the fun. That's part of the challenge of killing said pest with an air rifle. It's not just put your crosshairs on there and pull the trigger. I made a shot on a crow with this gun, 20 caliber at 65, maybe 70 yards, and I killed it. And my buddy could not believe it. He's like, I dropped that crow. It was like right in the head where I wanted to hit it with this gun. This gun, dudes. And it was the best day of my life. Okay, maybe not the best day. That was when my children were born, each of them. But it ranked a close second. Hey, they're good kids, they are. But man, killing at 65 yards with a 20 caliber Springer, dude, that's living. That's a good time, and it's pretty darn quiet. I mean, I won't say people were super close, but they might have been. Well, not in front, like way behind. Hunting with your air gun is so excellent. I mean, it's way more of a challenge, like I said, than your 22. And it's also much quieter. These pre-charged pneumatics, and I'll show you this one now. This has just completed my testing, and again, my testing on this is going to be kind of basic. It's an Venturi Avenger. Link is below. It will take you to my associated store. Oh my gosh. Love this gun. Look at this. So this is a pre-charged pneumatic. So if you guys don't know what the heck that is, you're going to pump this cylinder full of air, high pressure air. This one can go, I think, around to 3,000 PSI. And then you'll have about 35 shots. And if I remember, this was pushing an 18 grain Crossman, super awesome Crossman pellet at about 1,000 feet per second, like 975 feet per second. Excuse me. Yeah, and there's your air gauge right there. It tells you the status, how much PSI you have in that air chamber. And this is kind of a biathlon rifle, so you side cock it, dudes. Look at this. Oh my gosh. And here's your magazine. So it's a repeater. It has a 10-shot magazine that you hand load. Has a slight spring tension on it. You put your magazine in. so cool. Nutnfancy, I can't believe you love this so much because you have access to all these guns. I know I do. But it doesn't mean these are not awesome. That's my whole point in doing this video. Oh, it won't close because I don't have pellets in it, and it has like a block so you know when you're empty. But anyways, you'll close your side lever. Beautiful trigger on it. Synthetic stock. So this is a user gun. You could easily camouflage it with a spray paint job, make it look wicked awesome. I just have a simple Nikon 22 scope on it because this does not have the snap forward, snap back double recoil that a spring rifle does. And by the way, let me throw that in real quick. So that one I showed you, the Beeman R9, they'll recoil and they'll snap forward and back. And so they'll break reticles on guns that are not braced for air guns. On a pre-charged pneumatic, as far as I know, you don't have to do that because you don't have a big cylinder going back and forth. It's just air, a push of air. Anyway, so we're talking about hunting. This is a beautiful hunting gun in 22 caliber. And I wrote the weight down. You probably saw it. 6 pounds, 2 ounces naked. Wow. Now be careful. Some of those some of these air guns are very heavy, and there's no attention paid at all to their weight. That's one reason I went with the R9 back in the 90s, because it was relatively lightweight, albeit it wasn't the most powerful. And you know what my Bible was, and actually in some ways still is, when we talk about hunting with air guns? This right here. And dudes, we're going to go back in the Nutnfancy time machine. No kidding. These are my notes on the Beeman catalog, the Precision Air Guide. And I think this is from 97. So this is edition 18. I have edition 22, and it got worse over the years. Right? This one did. And the information in here is insane. Look at my notes, dudes. Now, I didn't do that just for these videos. I did it, a long time ago when I was hunting. Look, I got notes. The R1 laser I was thinking about back then in 20 caliber, it was $1,000 back then. And I didn't have a lot of money. I was a poor captain in the U.S. Air Force, just making ends meet. I have Beeman's phone number in there because I was calling him. I have a highlighting in here on the article from Granddad himself, Robert Beeman. His family's awesome. Look at that. I said a wonderful company. Now, I think Beeman's changed hands. They make guns overseas. I really don't know what their status is. I have a Beeman right here I'm going to show you as the video goes on. I mean, the information in this is so insane. I'd already made my notes, right, on POU, and I started going through here. There's different types of air guns they're showing you. I'm not going to go into that. We'll cover those in the reviews. And I was like, dude, I'm like echoing what he's saying. Pre-charged pneumatics, and this is back in the 90s, so these guns have been around a very, very, very long time. The one thing I want to show you, here's caliber selection, hunting. I'll throw that in real quick. And I said it before, I don't like 177. 20 caliber's good. You can get higher velocity with that, but I like a big chunk of metal to hit that target, and I want to deliver it very, very accurately. Here's a gun that I wanted and I never bought it. It was the Beeman RX1 Magnum. I think I referenced that. It was fairly expensive back then. And I'm showing you this stuff just to prove that it's in my blood, that I'm passionate about it. This is your R1. And I used to shop at White Elephant in Spokane, so you'll see a White Elephant price. $400 for that? What a good use. What a good use of money. I can't tell you how good that is. All right, what I want to talk about here is it has a chart in here, and I'm going to briefly go over this. It's foot-pounds of energy to kill certain things. Very interesting. Is that information available on the internet? Oh, sure it is. You could DuckDuckGo it in 2 seconds. Let's see. English sparrow mouse needs 2 foot-pounds of energy. Squirrel, starling pigeon, 3 foot-pounds. A rat or rabbit, 5 foot-pounds of energy. Jackrabbit, 8 foot-pounds of energy. And by the way, I'll echo that. I've shot jackrabbits before with an air gun. I thought it was a good hit, and that sucker took off booking. And if I remember, it was with my dad's BSA in 22 caliber, which was underpowered. It had a tire spring back then. It's from the damn 70s. And it says an elk will need 55 foot-pounds of energy. I made that up. Oh, let me say, though, there are pre-charged pneumatics in major calibers like 9mm and stuff like that. I've researched them years ago. They are very capable of taking large game. And maybe in some locations you can use an air rifle to go big game hunting. In my reviews, I'm really not going to, well, as of yet, I'm not going to go into that realm. I'm going to kind of concentrate on 25 caliber or less. And you can see there that you can get a lot of work done with these smaller calibers. Crows, rats, raccoons, they say you need 2-inch accuracy. They say, Beeman did. Squirrels, 8 foot-pounds of energy. Woodchucks, 10 to 15 foot-pounds to kill a woodchuck. If you have a problem with woodchucks, woodchucks wherever you are. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? I don't know, but he better have some body armor on if he's going to be facing 15 foot-pounds of energy. And I remember from studying this that you want to have a very accurate air gun, because these are not firearms, and I'm talking more traditional, let's say 20 foot-pounds or less. You want to be accurate and deliver that pellet very accurately in a kill zone. I did briefly mention 2-inch kill zone or 2-inch grouping, and that's at 50 yards, which is a long shot for an air gun. At least to me it is. I would say if you could get 1-inch accuracy at 50 yards, you are doing amazing. Amazing. If you can do that consistently with a 22 caliber pre-charged pneumatic, which by the way I did with this one. I'll just jump ahead. Yeah. This Avenger by Air Venturi, totally did that. With those beautiful Crossman pellets, very heavy pellet. It's like, I want to say over 18 grains. You're going to be loving life, dude. You're going to be loving life. And it's fun trying to do that. Here's a trajectory table here. So I'm showing you how I studied this subject years ago. And, you know, some of the stuff I've forgotten, but I could brush up on it. The thing is, whether you choose a pellet, you're hunting with your air gun, choose a pellet you like. I recommend going something heavy. What do I have here? Here's some Beam and Silver Jets bought at White Elephant many years ago. I really didn't like these too much for killing crow, because I remember getting some hits on those sons of bitches and them flying away with a Silver Jet. And they shouldn't have, because this is a heavy pellet, dude. What's the grains on these? I can't see it right off, but it's a big, heavy pellet. I'll bring one out and show it to you. Yeah, I just like, me and my buddy, we'd go, how in the world did that sucker fly off? And we just couldn't figure it out. The one pellet that I used with great effect on closer range shots, I would never go out to 50 yards, but 20 yards, 25 yards are these Beam and H&N match. So any flat wad cutter type pellet, believe it or not, I know this is probably going to rock the air gun world, but I got more kills with these things, and they were cost effective. Yeah, those are awesome. And then I have these Master Farfanugan. What the hell? These are 22 caliber, 14 grain. These are more modern pellets. And see, that's the thing. These things are so affordable. You can buy tins of pellets and just figure out what works for you. These are Silver Bears with the old pricing on it when I bought it at White Elephant, which is a very cool gun store, kind of a everything store back in Spokane. They're still going. But this is a lighter weight pellet, so with lighter weight pellets, you're going to get more velocity. Super quick. Velocity isn't everything. Foot-pounds of energy is everything, just like in the firearms world. So when you go hunting, choose that good caliber. I don't want to say big, because if I go to a pre-charged, if I go to a pre-charged pneumatic and I have a 25 caliber pellet I'm going through, I'm going to go through my air source quicker. So you want to find the happy balance. For me, it's 22. So 22 caliber pellets, I go through this air source a little bit more slowly, about 35 shots, until I feel like I need to recharge and pump this up with a friggin' hand pump, which is a pain in the butt. And yes, I know there's a scuba tank refill system, and you'll be seeing that in the Nutnfancy project as well. I mean, I am a scuba diver. I already have the damn tank. So find that happy medium, and to me, my recommendation, if you're going to go out to shoot and drop something, I would go with 20 caliber or higher. I ain't going to say that 177 cannot get the job done. I have 177 air guns, and I've dropped some animals with those things too. It can be done. Pest control, it's quiet, much safer. It doesn't have the range. So even a pre-charged pneumatic with shooting at about 1,000 feet per second, It's not going to go over 400 yards. Actually, it's probably not going to go over 200. But to be safe, 400. But what do you do with a 22? Mile? You have to have a backdrop, like a real backdrop. You got to be in a place that's legal to shoot firearms. If you don't have a can on it, it's going to be louder. There's a lot more to it. Airgun, simple. Again, we're still going to treat them like firearms, but they're just, I don't know, they're just lower impact. I'll put it that way, which I love. When you take down your first pest with your air gun or your air pistol, again, this is the beautiful Beeman. I know, I got into Beeman in the 90s, and I've kind of been a Beeman fan ever since because their quality is just so dang high for the money paid. It's insane. I'll show you this other one. It's coming up. Stand by. This is a 20 caliber, but this doesn't have a lot of power to it, but I've dropped some things with this thing. And you're just going to say, wow, dude, I can't believe I did that with just a spring and a little bit of air. They have one now. It's a Benjamin Marauder pistol, $410. That thing's a pre-charged pneumatic. I mean, I think that would be a wicked hunting air pistol. So I think as I do my reviews, I bet most TMPers, as we go down this road together, will follow me and they'll be into hunting with their air gun. And that's why they're doing it. And so that's kind of interesting because our focus will be a little bit different than reviews. So we're looking for power. We are looking for accuracy. And also other things. How would it be to carry in the field? Is it lightweight? Is it easy to reload? Do I have to fumble around with it? I'll be covering stuff like that in the reviews too. On we go. This is fun, Nutnfancy. I love it. Thank you. Number 3, recreation. So remember, I did represent early in the video. I was like, well, guys may hear this hunting thing. They don't have nothing to hunt. They have nothing to kill, and good on you. But they go, hey, I just want an air gun because it's fun. And here's what I say. That's because you get it. Air guns are fun. They're their own challenge. They're different than firearms. They shoot differently than firearms. There are some similarities. Your marksmanship fundamentals can transfer to a firearm. But last time I checked, ammunition is still extremely expensive. Even 22 is kind of expensive. Hard to find. You go get your 10 of pellets, dude. How many in here? 200? Something like that? Whatever it is. 250. You go get this, it's going to be a fraction of a firearm. Even 22. Even high quality pellets. So you go practice with your air gun of choice. Have a great day. And you look at the end of it and you go, wow, I spent $20. Versus you go out shooting with your 9mm all day long. And you shoot the way you want to shoot as much as you want to shoot, and you go, you know what, I spent $400 today. I got some good training out of it, but damn, I kind of need to make my house payment. That's its own talking point economy, but recreation, it's fun. I was looking in these Beeman guides, and they mentioned that the NRA has 15 different awards for their 25-foot air gun matches. So NRA, bless their hearts, they participate in air gunning because they know that is the foundation of firearms use, safety, marksmanship fundamentals, which, by the way, translates to soldiers who know how to shoot. Look how cool this is, dude. Look at my notes about scopes. Freaking hey, man. That is awesome. Nutnfancy, you're not kidding. You were into this. Told you. Yeah, I wanted good scopes. And Beeman had their scopes built in Japan, as I recollect. I still have one of them. I have a Beeman blue ribbon scope on a different gun. I forgot what I put it on. It has like an illuminated reticle on it with a fiber optic system. I made some kills, that son of a bitch, that's for sure. Dude, I had a friend that had one of these, a Tempest Hurricane. It's that break open one. You talk about a gutless air gun. Oh my gosh, he hit a pigeon with it and that pigeon laughed. He took off and flipped him the bird. Pun intended. Yeah, that thing sucked. If you're gonna get an air gun and you're going to hunt with it, here I go back to the air gun. I'm so sorry. Get one that has some power. But getting back to talking point 3, which is recreation and practice, you need to know how to shoot it well. Like spring rifles, you have to hold firmly on their forend. You don't let them jump around for maximum accuracy. And maybe a certain type and brand of firearm needs its own technique of shooting to get maximum accuracy. But it's fun. It's way fun. I mean, I was testing these two in the last couple days. I was just kind of circling back on, man, I've really missed air gunning. It's really fun. It's a different type of shooting. It's not rapid fire. It's not tactical. It's just marksmanship shooting, really, is what I was doing. I'm at the table. I'm trying to find out what these guns can do. At 50 yards, I shot these sons of guns. 50 yards. That's a long ways to me. Yeah. And I will tell you, both of the air guns that I've shown you, like that Avenger, awesome. And it's fun to take these air guns out to like a camping adventure with your family and friends, and you set up a simple thing. Maybe it's just 10 cans at 25 yards, and you say, hey girls, come on over, we're going to shoot my air gun. It's a pre-charged pneumatic like that Avenger, and it'll be a blast. They'll love it. It's non-intimidating to people. It doesn't make any blast. It doesn't have lead coming out like in an indoor range, so you don't have to worry about lead inhalation and smoke and all that stuff we have to worry about with firearms. And I have shot 22s indoors, and let me tell you, it's something. You better have good ventilation. I mean, I showed that early in the project. It was insane. Yeah, I had a 22 bullet trap. We shot 22s indoors all the time, and you can still do so with ventilation. With an air gun, good to go. Just have a decent backdrop, simple backdrop. You'll be the hit of the family reunion when you break out your Benjamin Chief. Here it is. I called it a Benjamin. Sorry, it is another Beeman. Yes, I love that company. Look at the quality on this gun, dudes. The price is insanely low. Again, I'm jumping ahead in the POU video. We'll get to that. But here's a great training rifle. It is also a pre-charged pneumatic. Here's the charging nipple right here in the front. So you'll put your pump there, pump it on up, maybe your scuba tank adapter. Take it to your family reunion, and you teach the kids there who have never had any exposure to firearms how to shoot this single shot air gun, pushing a 22 caliber pellet at about 850 feet per second, dropping off about 10 feet per second every shot, maybe more depending on environmentals. And I put this very affordable scope on it. Dude, so fun. You are seriously going to be the hit of your family reunion. You're just going to be so popular. People are going to say, man, that was so fun. Uncle so-and-so brought that air gun out. We all shot. We were shooting Army men. Another thing I represented early in the project. So I reviewed the Red Ryder BB gun many years ago. And I said, this is a perfect tool to shoot Army men with your kids. What a fun game. So when we talk about recreational use of air guns, philosophy of use, gaming with them. Another fun game. If you can find a body of water, like a little farm pond or something, build these little boats or get some plastic ones, float them out there about 30 yards, try to sink them. Have competitions in sinking the boats. Also, I represented that early in TMP's history. Fun. And all the while, you're practicing marksmanship fundamentals. You're practicing trigger control, breath control, how to hold a gun. I almost said firearm. And yes, that will translate when you actually do shoot a firearm. Usually it will. Okay, that's that. Now we go on to the number 4 philosophy of use of air gunning. What I kept jumping ahead to multiple times, and that is economy. You're a cheapskate. You don't want to spend $400 in an afternoon of shooting. Come on down. Get on in here. The water's fine. Air gun with us. Dudes, in the backdrop here, did you even know you're looking at some BB guns? Did you even know? This is a full auto BB gun. That is actually airsoft. This is real. That's real. This is an airsoft. So I didn't buy these for airsofting or BB gunning. I bought them as props for the back of, well, what you're looking at, the TMP bunker. So fun. And very affordable. So it's just shooting steel BBs, which are 177 caliber, doesn't shoot pellets. And Mrs. Nutnfancy and I tested that basically MP40 submachine gun in BB format with CO2 cylinder power. So fun and cheap. Not only that, not only is the ammunition, i.e. the pellets, cheap to purchase, and of course you can get different qualities. You can go with a very high quality pellet, and you're going to be spending some money. I mean, I looked on my site today. It was Airgun Depot. JSB Diablos 18 grain were about $22. Predator poly tip ones were about the same. Predator GTO H&M Barracuda match 21.14 grain. Ooh, that's a good hunting pellet. Sorry, I get carried away. JSB Diablo Exact Monster. Holy crap, 25.4 grain. You're gonna need a lot of air to push that though, dudes. That's a heavy pellet. A lot of guns won't do it, but $13 for 200 shots, and that's like a boutique pellet. That's inexpensive. So my point is, yes, the pellets, relatively speaking, comparatively to ammunition for a firearm, are going to be totally cheap. But also the guns are cheap to purchase. This one was only $220. Again, purchased with donation dollars to the Nutnfancy project. I did not call Beeman and say, hey, dude, I'm a longtime fan of your products and I have a YouTube channel. Can you please send me some free shit? I don't do that. I'll either loan it from you, a store, or I'll go purchase it like I did this. $220? Look, that is a blued steel barrel. It's not an insert with plastic around it. Blued steel air chamber. What kind of wood is this? It's probably beechwood, but look at how high quality it is, dude. Metal trigger guard, metal trigger, $220? That's cheap. I mean, you should just have this just because it's cool. It's a good display piece. It has a nice butt pad on it. $220? I watched the price of this go up. But when I saw this, I was like, yeah, that's a great first gun to purchase. To kick off airgun reviews in the project. Yeah, amazing. This one was inexpensive. This Avenger, I won't say a price on this one because it's going to go up and down, but super inexpensive. For a 10-shot repeating 22 caliber pre-charged pneumatic with a 1-inch capability at 50 yards. What? You know how much money you're going to be spending on a 22? Okay, let's get real. Maybe not that much. I mean, you can get a 1022 that will do 1 inch at 100, maybe, 50 you can though. Wouldn't be that much. But when we talk about economy, it's not just the initial purchase price, it's not the easy legality aspect of it, it's also the ammunition. On we go with a airgun philosophy of use. Holy crap, this is going to be way longer than I wanted it to be, but it's fun. It's fun. Yeah, that one was a Beeman Chief for $220. All subject to change. Could be way gone. Number 5, and I kind of showed you this already. So, airgun philosophy of use. You could do just what I do, and you purchase the airgun just for its looks. So this is a BB gun. Maybe you just don't want to shoot it at all, but you like how realistic this thing looks. I mean, look at this thing. It looks like a real MP40, does it not? Yes, Nutnfancy, it does.
Kidding.
Yeah, it's awesome. And maybe you just want to display it and have it in the background of your office or wherever.
Check your mag.
And you never intend to go out and put BBs in it, charge it up with some CO2 cylinders and shoot it. But you can never afford a real MP40, a real MP38, a real Sten machine gun. But there's really cool BB guns that have that look to them. And they do have the functionality of, yes, being able to shoot something, a BB, which to me is more attractive than just a display piece that can't do anything, of which I do throw in the background sometimes. This is an Airsoft Rifle. Yeah. But that looks so cool. I mean, it's a no-brainer. But you get these very realistic facsimiles of real firearms, and they shoot usually BBs. That's a whole philosophy of use that you really don't want to go hunt anything. You think target shooting is great, but you have other real firearms you'll use for that. But, having a Tommy gun is pretty sick. And it looks real. And to the uninitiated, when they come into your office and they see that Tommy gun, BB gun, hanging in the background, they're going to be fooled. Just like you guys were fooled with all these props. So when I first started slinging this out, guys were like, oh, sick, MP40. And these are firearm guys that know guns. Now, are they experts on World War II German submachine guns? No, probably not. If they were, they could look at certain things and go, that's not real. But it's still cool. It's still good enough. That's its own reason to own these guns. And that, by the way, kind of peels away from the hunting air guns that I've been talking about. This is kind of BB guns. So they're kind of replicas. They're fun to shoot. Maybe it's a submachine gun that doesn't look like anything, but it's just fun to shoot. But it is full auto, and that goes into this talking point. So we can't own usually a full auto firearm. Even if we couldn't afford to shoot it. Get a BB gun. Is it the same exact experience? No, it's very different. But it's fun. And Mrs. Nutnfancy and I have reviewed a Tommy gun already. That's by Umarex. And actually, it might have been that one right there, the Legends, because it was the Legends lineup. I have two MP40s, and I get them mixed up. It's probably that one I shot. And, dude, they both did great. Super fun to shoot. And I have more to go. Now, they may not be a replica of a gun, but they still have that full auto fun, completely valid reason. Now, would I use a gun like that to hunt? No. It's just for goofing around, popping holes into tin cans and shooting plastic bottles. Here's another replica. Look at how cool this was. I had this on tabletops, and guys were fooled by it. They're like, oh my gosh, a real Luger. Those are plastic grips, but look at how simulated and accurate they are on this Luger. This is a BB pistol. BB pistol. Maybe I'll review this. Maybe I won't. Depends on you guys. I'll tell you, hey, is this worth buying? I bought it as a prop for tabletops and for the back of the bunker. It's been in the project for years. It's a BB gun, dude. Fun. Next one. Self-defense.
Holy crap, Nutnfancy. Did you just say self-defense?
Yes, I did. But the common use of self-defense for air guns is probably not what you think. Because you're probably thinking, well, you would get a pellet gun like your R9 and you would shoot it in a self-defense way to keep someone from doing bad things to you and your family. You could do that, but again, these are air guns, and this particular one doesn't have a lot of power to it. Like I said, out of box, about 14 foot-pounds of energy. That's not a lot. You're just going to piss somebody off with it, generally speaking. Don't do it. You could, but I'm saying no. What I'm talking about is there are particular air pistols usually. Umarex makes several. I just got done testing the TR-50, and that is a 50 caliber defensive-oriented air pistol, and it's designed to thwart a violent attack. It is a less than lethal option. You'll see a tabletop review on that one, and maybe I do more. There's another semi-auto that shoots pepper balls. It is also an air gun, and it is also intended by Umarex to be a self-defense gun, less than lethal. But that is a potential philosophy of use for several guns that are focused with that, and there may be more that I review in the future. Are they perfect? Listen, dude, nothing I review is perfect. Everything's going to have downsides. It's going to have some quirks to it. I will cover the quirks in the review of that gun. I'll tell you what I don't like about it, and I'll tell you what I love about it, and I'll tell you if I would buy it. That's what my reviews are all about. That's why you keep watching them, because you know I'm not going to shit you guys. It'll be the real deal. I was like, hey, I would buy this. It has this downside. I'll look past it because it provides this capability. That's what the reviews are for. But self-defense. Now, if you go up to the higher powered pre-charged pneumatics that shoot higher calibers, like above 25 cal, those are legitimate facsimiles to firearms. I mean, you can, like I said, you can take big game with those things. Those are legit. FX makes some very high powered pre-charged pneumatics. They're very expensive, above $2,000. I'm not really intending to review those, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe one of you guys have one, and maybe I'll review yours. On we go. 2 more points to go. Oh my gosh. Number 7 reason to own air guns, and we're still talking philosophy of use, collecting. My watch today, by the way, is a beautiful Invicta. Link below. It'll be gone in about 10 minutes. $65. Put it in your Invicta collection. Invicta collection. I think it's 15074, whatever it is. Look below, you'll see it. It's not an automatic. It's a course powered, probably a 626 battery, which is not my favorite. But look at the beauty of it. Look at the quality. I usually don't wear a gold watch, but this one is so inexpensive. Why not? I'll review it. Collect it. You guys, because you've watched my channel, you have knife collections, you have watch collections, you have gun collections. Guess what? This air gun collection that I'm going to get you hooked on, and yes, I will get you hooked on it. You're going to buy my first recommended air gun. Let's say it's this Avenger. You're going to shoot it, and you're going to, holy crap, Nutnfancy was right. This thing is awesome. Maybe you shoot it and you go, this thing sucks. I'm going to go back to firearms, and that's cool. You ain't going to do that. You have a whole new way of shooting come to you through this this channel that you subscribe to and hopefully donate to, by the way, for the rest of your life. Thank you. Link below. And a whole new world is going to open up to you, and you're going, holy crap. And then maybe you end up with 10 air rifles, air pistols. But here's the deal. Most of what I'm going to review are going to be very inexpensive, and you're going to have a lot of capability, a lot of fun, a lot of recreation, a lot of marksmanship practice for way, way less than a firearm, and without the attendant legality problems. If you move state to state, if you want to give them to other people, especially if this assault weapons ban shit passes, you don't have to worry about any of that. You can give it to whoever you want. You can loan it to whoever you want. It's an air gun. Collecting, and it's fun. It's fun to just sit and look at how they're built, look at the wood, look at the construction. That's, again, why I gravitated early on to Beeman, because this is the 1997 gun. Look at the wood on this thing, and this is after hunting with it, banging it up. It has a rubber butt pad on it, dude. My R9. It's got some, hunting scratches on it right here. It was in rain. We hunted in the rain with this thing. I was always really anal about it. I was like, oh man, I don't want to get any rust on my R9. Look how nice that is. 1997, circa 1997. This is a hunting machine. Oh, and paper punching machine too. I'm so glad I remember this. Crow Magnums at 7 yards. I think it was out of that gun. Yeah, Spokane Rifle Club. So that's the kind of accuracy I got out of that. And by the way, going back to practice, accuracy is a huge thing with airgun dudes. Because, dude, if it doesn't punch one hole, some airgun guys go, yeah, it's crap. It's a whole different level than firearms. Like if we group and we get a clover leaf or maybe like a half-inch group at, 25 yards or something, we're like, yeah, that's pretty good. Air rifle guys, I'm talking like the guys who really know what they're talking about, not me, and shoot really well, they go, yeah, shit. They're like, if it doesn't go into one hole, I'm not interested. We're talking high levels of accuracy with air guns. Now, it may not be at 50 yards. It might be at 25 feet, maybe 25 yards. Each one has its own difference, but it's a thing. And these air rifles that I'm reviewing, they're usually going to be pretty accurate. And in your collection, you could have just accurate guns. And you'd be sitting around talking to another dude and say, hey, yeah, this gun can shoot, an inch at 50 yards. That's an hour discussion right there. Just like we're having right now. Yeah, the quality for what you're paying, insane. We're going to end this right now with kind of what I mentioned here, and it's called perfection. Airgun philosophy of use, Nutnfancy style. Perfection, what do I mean by that? Well, what I kind of dovetailed with earlier, and that you're going for this. That a clover leaf isn't enough. And I think this is like 4 shots. Did I even write that down? Have it upside down. That's 1997, dude. Oh, 3 shots. 3 shots. Perfection, what I mean by that is that maybe you are a hunter. Maybe you're just in it for maximum accuracy, bench rest capability. Maybe you're competing, which I did, by the way, in high school. I was in an airgun competition team in high school in Alabama, and I loved it. Then I went to small bore 22 long rifle with the Army JROTC. Yes, I did compete in that, and it was a blast too. But I love the airgun stuff too. It was way, way fun. But you're looking for perfection. You want maximum accuracy. Maybe you experiment with all types of different pellets to get the kind of performance you're looking for. I used to, when I was hunting, actually size my pellets because I was so anal. Because I knew I would be taking a shot with an air gun with very limited power, 14 foot-pounds of energy, at 65 yards against a crow, and I wanted to eliminate every variable I could. So I got a full sizing die, or at least I'd get a pellet skirt tool. When I loaded it, I would push that pellet skirt so it was completely uniform as it goes into the back of the barrel right here. See that? And so Beeman had this aluminum tool, which I still have, and you push a pellet in here, and then you smooth that skirt out. So when it launches, it's uniform. So you get consistency. That is an advantage of a spring-powered break action rifle. You're getting the same puff of air on every shot. at least for a given environmental condition. Pre-charged pneumatic is going to have a variability to it, even if it's regulated. Regulation will help it, but it's still going to lose velocity after every shot, and you're going to have different placements of your pellets. Perfection. So if you're the kind of guy that likes projecting, that you're looking for another hobby, you're kind of lost right now, maybe you discontinued a hobby, welcome to air gunning. Every gun will be its own project. This P1, for instance, it's its own project. What can I do to make this thing better? Is there a different spring I can put into it? What pellet shoots best? Less time and energy, just like a gun, but we're spending less money. And a lot of air gun guys get really good at it, and they know their air gun like the back of their hand, and they can tell you what it can do. They know all the trajectories of every pellet they shoot out of it, and so a really expert air gunner can shoot his to 100 yards. They go, well, yeah, I can shoot mine to 100 yards. I know what my pellet will do. I know how many foot-pounds it'll have. They get into it. They have different ways to range the drop of their pellet with lasering and stuff. It is perfection. And when you get that, it's a pretty good feeling. Am I that? No. I don't have the time or the energy or, frankly, the obsessiveness to quite do that. Although with that R9, I did get into it because I was focused on maximum hunting capability. So I did some of that. You saw my drop chart, but I don't know if I was quite to the level of a true air gun expert. Not so much. And here we go. Get sad because it's the end of the video.
Nutnfancy, I've really enjoyed this. Thanks so much.
Thanks to the donors, because they are the reason I'm doing this. They gave me the money to purchase those 2 rifles you saw, the pellets, the gas, the fuel that I used to drive to the place to test them. It was in the desert, by the way, not in an indoor range. So I'm actually in field, facing off against what we call here in TMP the curse of the desert. And I will tell you right now, they both survived. Yeah. So we talked about air gun application. That is philosophy of use. What are you going to use these things for? Well, first is to avoid legal hassles of firearms ownership. We talked about that. Pest control, hunting. I spent a lot of time talking about that. That is actually my focus. At least it has been in the past. The amazing economy in both purchasing many of these guns. Not all. Some can be quite expensive. Just depends on where we go with this. But a lot of them are inexpensive, and definitely the ammunition and the air isn't inexpensive. To be able to enjoy replicas like this, MP40, BB guns, we're just collecting them as wall pieces, and the ability to shoot a full auto type gun, super fun. Self-defense, we briefly touched on that. Yes, it is a valid philosophy of use. We'll talk more about it on the tabletops. I don't know how many of those I'll do, but we have to represent it here because it can play. And yes, in a pinch, a pellet gun could serve a self-defense purpose. I ain't going to say it can't. It's just not the best choice ever for that. Collecting, have a whole variety of pellet guns, BB guns, really fun, and you can pass them on to your children. And then last, the quest for perfection, and we are done. Thank you so much for your support here in the project. I really appreciate you guys. Come again real soon, and you'll see the tabletop reviews of these suckers posting, and I think you'll like them. Again, this is all up in the air. That's a pretty funny pun, actually. Yeah, it's all up in the air, and it's up to you. So again, good support, strong support, especially for my donors, to see more airgun reviews. Nutnfancy, thank you.